Welcome in, my friends. 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. Today, a little bit more of a somber show. Unfortunately, lost a great man in Shawn Butler this past week, 10 days. It's one of those things that even though you might know something's coming or you might see something coming, it doesn't make it any easier to deal with when it happens. And I got a chance to be on the Service Drive Live the day after everything had happened with Sean, 2 days after. And it was just amazing to watch and to listen to and to really take in, because it got me thinking about legacy, which is really what this show to me today is about legacy. As someone in their mid-40s, legacy comes up a lot. According to my therapist, happens to a lot of us. And I think about mine. I think about what it is that I leave behind. What have I done? What will I do? But when you see someone like Shawn Butler and you see what legacy means, what it looks like, truly what it looks like, a room of people, some of who've met him, some of them who haven't. I'd never met him in person. He and I had just connected online, and we connected hard online, and we started texting and chatting and talking. And it was just, I had Sean on the show back in 2022, before he'd gotten sick, before everything was out there. And he would tell a story of addiction, tell a story of going through the things he went through. And it was amazing. But then what was more amazing was how he put literally everybody else first. Literally everyone else first. Even in his passing, he's still putting people first. It's really a wonder to see. And I knew from the get that this was a special human just because of how he treated people. I remember how excited he was to surprise his wife with a Land Rover, which we talked about on Service Drive Live. I remember him texting me beforehand, texting me the video of her seeing it and getting it. It was special. It was emotional. It was important. And that's what legacy is. Sean's friends and family will never forget him, but from an industry perspective, I don't think industry will forget the mark he's had on it either. And I don't even know anyone who personally works for the man. I can't imagine how grief-stricken they are. And I've talked about it before in this show. When it comes to the loss of leaders, and the legacy they leave behind is in the people that worked for them and how they speak of them and the reverence at which they go about their business. And it's impressive. It's really, really impressive to see how everyone came out. Sean was someone who, even when you went to check in on him with everything that was going on, he tried to reverse course. He tried to ask you, and I'm pretty stubborn, so I'd be like, hey, enough about me. Let's really jump in. How are you feeling? What's going on? What's next steps? And I had made that text recently, and unfortunately, for the first time ever, it was responded to by his wife. And I knew at that moment what was, where we were at, what was transpiring, and she had said it, and I had made it clear to her my thoughts and feelings and about the situation. She was grateful for that in the moment. I'm happy for that. But at the end of the day, it just gets you thinking about everything else. And it can be hard to think, everyone's so worried about being machismo, right? We talked about it on Service Drive Live, just manly man stuff. Ain't nobody Superman. Nobody needs to be. It's bullshit. Stop wearing the I didn't see a doctor in 10 years as a badge. That's fucked up. Go for a yearly physical. Just have somebody take a look under the hood. Know what's going on, because you never know what you might be able to feel, not feel. One of the things Sean left me with that I'll never forget, and to me, the legacy will live on. Don't feel right? Go get it checked out. Don't feel right? Go get it checked out, no matter what. And in my own life recently, I've been slowed by a scenario in my own body. And when I started to feel off, it was the first person I thought of was Shawn Butler. And that's a legacy. That's a lasting legacy. And so while you go through and you think about what you do or don't do for others, make sure that you realize that in order to take care of others, you must take care of yourself. And Sean is someone who continually, he said it, put others before him, maybe to his detriment. But he also is a strong man of faith and believes that his path is the path at which he was given, at least again in our discussions. You got to respect that. I don't care about what your religious faction. I don't give a shit. None of that matters to me. That's what sustains people. That's what fulfills people. In that time, shouldn't matter what anyone else thinks of it. Should be up to them and how they feel. So I don't want to sit here and continually just get, more in a hole of the emotional side. But I do want to tell you that from a show perspective, from someone who is always having to be on, quote unquote, loss is sobering and puts life in perspective you couldn't otherwise have. And I'm always frustrated with myself that it takes loss to do that. And so, again, something I'm going to try and do with the legacy of Shawn Butler is that I'm going to try to do as much as I can while taking care of myself and trying to be as present now as I can be, because there is no guarantee of any of us for tomorrow. And when these kind of things happen, this is really where it shows through. So go out there and remember, if it don't feel right, go get checked out and check in on people. Be uplifting. Don't have to always be in it for ourselves. Be in it for others. Be in it to check on others, because you never know what other shit people are going through. Okay? Shawn Butler, we miss you already, my friend. You will be forever tagged in my posts. I will never not do that, man. So thank you so much for all that you did for all of us as an industry. And I imagine your family feels tenfold that. So an amazing man who hopefully is in a lot less pain than he was before, because he deserves the very best. Thank you guys for joining me. And I hope you enjoy a few of the clips that we put together in Sean's memory from being on the show. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.
That's where we have to win the customer over with the customer experience after the sale and make them feel like the most important thing to come in to the door. So I'd recently hired a new porter greeter in my new store. And she said, well, what's my role going to be? I said, your role is going to be to make every customer that comes in that door feel like you're the happiest MFer in the world to see them that day. And we're going to win everybody over with that customer experience. If we're doing our job in helping them maintain their car in a proper fashion up front and using the aspects of the electronic MPIs, the videos, the printouts, and giving them all the information and letting them make the decision to keep their car in the shape that it should be, it's an investment. Even though this investment goes down over time, it's really up to them to maintain it, and you have to present it in an ethical and clear way. And right now, there's been a lot of this wave riding over the last few years when people have been cashed up, and some companies have been operating unethically in the front and the back. And those are the people that's really going to suffer. The ones that are doing the right thing by the customer all the way through, they're going to win no matter what.
Sean, what makes you so, for lack of a better term, man, obsessed with the customer experience? Because you talk about it a lot, you reference it a lot. It seems to be the driving force of what puts you where you are. Where does that come from?
From being obsessed with the employee experience. If I know that my employees are the best taken care of and they feel appreciated, they're paid above market rate, that will transcend onto the customers. I insist on the 10-foot rule between employees and customers. If you're passing by somebody, acknowledge them. Ask them if they've been helped. How's their day? You cannot go over the top enough to make everybody feel appreciated. And that leads into our mental health aspect. Over the last couple of years, when people were kind of locked up in the house and some states were worse than others. How bad was it when people first started really flooding back into the dealership? There were some people that had really kind of lost their social skills, and you had to find a new way to reach that customer and make them feel comfortable. My wife, being a 23-year mental health nursing director for the state of Virginia, I hear about it firsthand every day about how people they've lost their social skills. They're used to staying at home. They're used to instant gratification. You have to be able to bend, adjust, and just make people feel at home and welcome. So, I mean, that's just the bottom line.
You correct me if I'm wrong. I don't find a lot of dealerships that worry about that cultural experience connection.
No, they're few and far between. They're transactional. They're worried about making a sale instead of building a business. My friend Sean Armour, who's an awesome BDC guy, he talks about a thing called emotional intelligence, right? And we have to be able to connect and feel and get on a deeper level, even through the phone. In today's electronic age with the instant gratification, people still want to know you care and have that personalization and talk to a real person. Their car is the second biggest expense they have in their life. And so why would you not treat that thing in such a value? I've instructed my advisors to not even talk about the car. When the customer comes in, ask them 3 questions, right? Get them talked and involved in a conversation. Where they get their dog groomed, what do they got planned for later in the day? You know, those kinds of things. We talk about the car when we get up to the desk, or after we multi-point selling is going to become more and more of a thing rather than up front. Customers don't want to be hammered up front. Establish the connection. Take the time to invest.
One thing that I did notice is that if you don't have a support network like I got, right? Like I got people like you, I got people like my wife, I got people in my family, I got business associates, I have my employer, my coworkers. I mean, everybody ultra supportive. I got to thinking, what would it be like for somebody who did not have that support network, or have those people pulling for you that took it seriously and got on the side? And so the prognosis is not good. I mean, the kind of cancer that I have and the aggressive nature of it, the first year survival rates are less than 40%. 33 to 42% is what I was told. So, but as far as I'm concerned, they're 100% because me and you are talking today. Well, and so I'm very, very fortunate to be surrounded with good people, right? Because in our business, it's about the people. Yeah, if you know me at all, I put all the employees first. Everybody else is first. So that's making deposits. So now I've had to make a little bit of a withdrawal, right? And I need some support from them. And they've all stepped up to the person. My employer has been great. They're like, Sean, you do what you need to do.
What's it been like for you personally to have so much outreach, so much support? What has that done to you? What has that meant to you?
Oh, it's a confidence and a mental health booster, right? To know that many people reach out, but it's also uncomfortable because I'm used to putting the spotlight on everybody else and not having a spotlight on me. It's nice to get compliments from here and there, win awards or whatever, but to this level of how it's been ramped up, what's interesting to me is the number of people that have reached out, whether it's been mentally, emotionally, financial support. Yes, there's been some fairly hefty contributions from some people that I've actually never met or even talked to in person, interacted with, maybe through LinkedIn or online or something like that. But then even more telling, that absence of interaction with people that you thought you were pretty tight with, and people that you've had relationships for a long time, all of a sudden it's crickets chirping, which that really caught me off guard, to be honest with you.
But what advice would you have for someone like me or someone in your position that's learning about themselves and this terrible disease and how to move forward?
The biggest thing you can do, that I did, right? I'm not normal. That you can't go and say, like you asked me earlier, I didn't immerse myself in a bunch of education other than what steps to expect. I would think for somebody in a family situation or a friend situation, letting that person know, or the people around them know, that you're there, that you're supportive of them, and that you're thinking of them is a huge place to start. Because trust me, the direction where you can help will pop up. As long as I'm right here in front of you and I got a voice, I will use my voice for the good of others. I want to bring awareness, right? Because people aren't aware of it. People aren't following doctors' orders to get checkups every 5 years or yearly. I'm guilty. Hell, I've 54 years, never been to a doctor hardly. Until now, I'm getting them all in at once, catching up.
Yeah.
Awareness and take the support. Take the support people offer you. How many people sit alone and just suck all this in and then dwell on it? They don't have any outlet. They don't have anywhere to go. There's groups out there. There's Facebook groups. There's counseling at your local hospitals. There's all these support networks I had no clue about until the last few weeks.
But for him now, he has a completely different outlook, right? He says he's the 2.0 version of himself now, having been through all that, which is what I suspect will happen to you, my friend. As you go through and as you beat this, I assume you'll come out the other side somewhat different. Do you expect that to be the case at some level, my man?
Absolutely. Well, I didn't survive, basically self-destructing back in the early 2000s. I went through a 7-year cocaine addiction. I threw everything away in life that was near and dear to me over drugs and just a poor mental health, right? I did not reach out to God and family and friends like yourself when I lost my dad, my grandma, and grandpa all in short order back in the early 2000s. Instead, I went the wrong direction. And so I didn't survive that. And I didn't find the love of my life. I didn't have another child, a sixth child who is just awesome, Lily. All of these things, the good Lord didn't provide to me to have them swept out from underneath me or to leave them by themselves. So I will win.
Colon rectal cancer is not something that most people are going to talk about, period, Sean. Did you have any trepidation about bringing this public? Did you have any, individual concerns about letting people know not only that it was cancer, but the type that it was?
No, that's the other thing we want to fight is the stigmas out there, right? That leads to suffering and silence because people don't want people to know. Well, you know what? I don't have any control over any of this other than my reaction and how I treat it. What it is and what the diagnosis was and how it happened. I don't care about none of that. I want to know how we're moving forward and how we're attacking it. And more people need to understand that the better you prepare yourself mentally, the better it's going to go for you in the long run. Mental preparation is half the game. Anybody that's ever played any sports or anything knows that that's to be true. And with myself, each day is a new day, right? Each day is a blessing. And I dedicated last week after giving it some thought. I wouldn't really sit around. I never feel sorry for myself. Never, ever. Anything that I've ever done that's bad, I did to myself. So I don't blame anybody. But being prepared and being willing to accept that help and being ready to act. When you are given opportunities, you have to be ready to act.
So as we sort of close this out, Sean, what do you want to leave people with that they need to know, whether it's about you, whether it's about how to help, whether it's about what you've been through, to close out an emotional mental health Monday on one of the most serious topics we could ever talk about, not only on this show, but in life itself? What do you want to leave folks with?
I want people to just be cognizant and aware of their surroundings and what's going on with the people around you. Everybody around you is fighting a battle that we're unaware of. Maybe small, maybe bigger, but you don't always know what's going on. So don't be so quick to judge people or quick to throw out, harsh words or anything, because words mean things, right? A lot of times somebody can be sitting teetering right on the edge, and you can just have, for a lack of concern or respect for people, you can totally alter the course of somebody's lives unintentionally. Now, that can be positive or negative. I'd rather it be for the positive, right? So staying on top of your things, being aware of your surroundings, and be willing to accept help. That's a very, very hard thing for me. I'm always a helper. I'm always a fixer. So that's probably been my toughest hurdle right now.